Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to Patricia's podcast. My name is Patricia Tomlinson. I am a motivational guru. That is what I stand for. I love to motivate people to pursue purpose, their authentic identity, to press past pain, press into their future. So I want to welcome you guys today. On this podcast, we talk about anything controversial. I like to say that we talk about anything that other people do not want to discuss. Um, on this podcast, we're going to be talking about relationship, purpose, identity, authentic love, anything that will help you press into your future and live the maximum potential that you were created to live. That is what this podcast is all about. So, welcome. So, today, I am going to actually talk to you about some issues that have been on my heart for the past year, and it is pertaining to our men. So, for the past 10 years, I have had the opportunity to speak to countless women about being molested and raped. I myself being one that have been impacted by these issues and I have overcome. And so now, for some reason, which was about last year, my focus has more or less shifted. I still love speaking to women and I still love talking to them. However, for some reason, our men has come into more of the viewpoint of the conversation. And with that being said, the inspiration for this particular podcast comes from a blog that I wrote about 2 weeks ago, and it was called For Far Too Long Women Have. In this blog, it was talking about how women have been plagued by the issue of our men in regards to being used sexually, mentally, and emotionally abused by men who are traumatized and hurting. This is due to how society has, for so long, made our men think that they are more masculine, more of a man because they have the house, the car, the money, the clothes, they can wear the suit, they can walk the walk, they have the broad shoulders. Um, However, women have dealt with so much emotional issues and problems, not just to their own issues or to their own problem, but because of a lot of it has come from a lot of different men who have not been in the place needed to be in order to either nurture her or understand that she's a human being with feelings as well, that you can't just sleep with a woman or have intercourse with her or tell her these dreams that you know that she wants and then call her crazy because she holds you accountable and wants you to fulfill what you originally said. However, under the pretense of being called crazy by men, women have been broken and abused. Now, I want to put this disclaimer out there. This is what society has taught our men. So, with all this being said, that was the first blog, which stemmed into the second blog. It's called Vault to His Heart. You can find all these on my Facebook profile, which is Patricia Tomlinson, and my Instagram, which is underscore Patricia Tomlinson. Um, and it gives more details about this. I'm simply just going back and reviewing the information that I've already sent out through written word. So, Vault to His Heart, I got some interesting feedback about that particular blog because it was men actually sending me corresponding messages, feedback, and comments about the blog, which I was actually excited about because I wanted to do something controversial to get the conversation started. I needed some men to stand up, to give me their opinion, their feelings, to actually open up. So, Vault to His Heart was about how men who were children, if they cried or showed emotion, were called sissies or punks or little girls because they had that moment of emotion where they felt. We have men that have been uh, devoid of nurture from their mothers, meaning that they weren't coddled, they weren't nurtured, they weren't loved on. And so the Vault to His Heart asks the question, why are men so silent with the issues of their heart? We know that men go through heartbreak, men go through disappointment, men go through letdown, men go through frustration, which to me leads to inward anger or just feelings that are suppressed and oppressed, and it becomes a vault where the man is actually locked up inside himself. He cannot have any form of release. For some men, we know that a lot of men actually get releases through sexual interaction with women. I remember last year I went to the park. I was on a walk. They had an event down there, and I stopped and I started to talk to one man. He was older, maybe about 45 years old, and it was about four other men that were there at the time. They were walking up, they were getting t-shirts, and we started a conversation. And the man said it. He said, he had been molested when he was a kid. Actually, two of them came out and said they had been molested. And due to those situations, one of the guys was actually paid as a child to perform particular acts on a young woman. So he said when he got older, his respect for women was not there as it needed to be. So what he did was he rounded up women, had sexual intimacy with them to fill this void. It was so amazing to see his response and his face as to when I started to tell him my story of how I went through getting preyed on by a man because I was naive to how a man can use his tactics to get what he wants. And this man had that moment where he was like, wow, that was me before I matured. That opened up the conversation. Another man said when he was married, he just did whatever he wanted to because he didn't feel like he had to either be faithful or show her the respect because he had been disrespected as a child by a woman. If you notice, both of these men had issues from their childhood of being traumatized by women that followed them into their adulthood and framed their mind as to how they viewed women and the respect or lack thereof that they were given. Why are men so silent? I'm pretty sure that, and hopefully so, that I was not the first person that had this interaction with them as far as conversing about what took place with them. However, both of these men were in their 40s. I asked both of them if they had been to counseling. They both stated no. So my question is, if you are in pain, what is it that causes you to sit there like a vault and not open up to release all that steam, all the anger, all the frustration and rage that takes place from being treated improper, treated wrong, or abused? So from the vault to his heart, the blog, I got an anonymous comment back. And he stated that his desire is to actually talk, open up, and express how he feels. However, he stated that once he does that, if he makes a mistake, if he does something wrong or says something wrong to the woman, she then takes the comments or information that he's given it, uses it as ammunition to shoot back at him, causing condemnation or guilt or making him feel less of a man. He stated that this is one of his primary reasons as to why he decides not to open up and allow his heart to be a vault. I thought that was very interesting, as well as I applauded him for being so open and honest and coming out about the information. I was impressed because I'm not his girlfriend, I'm not his wife, but he did feel comfortable enough to talk to me about it. So, hey, why not allow him to speak? With all that being said, today's topic and subject is titled Allow Him. Allow Him, meaning men, to speak. This morning, I'm normally up about 2 to like 5 or 6, brainstorming, praying, reading, getting downloads as far as the content that I'm going to talk about. And the title that came to me was Allow Him to Speak. I remember when I was younger, like in my 20s, and you just think you're doing something and you're so wise and you're so smart, still wet behind the ears. And I was engaging with different guys, not necessarily dating, but just talking. And I noticed a lot of times that these men would open up. They would just tell me their secrets. And I'm just like, some of the secrets were a little wild and radical, but they would do it. But I noticed as a woman, it was like I had a tendency to talk too much to the point where he was not able to actually get out what he, and not just one person, it was many men that were not able to get out exactly what they wanted to say. They didn't have a platform or a floor to actually express what they were feeling. This led me into another comment from an anonymous person, which is a woman, and she stated that strong, independent women won't allow their guards to go down. Interesting enough is that she took ownership that this strong, independent woman that she was talking about was herself. She stated that when she was married, um, she had some issues going on, as a lot of us do. And she stated that she would not allow this man to actually talk in or express how he felt. That was her issue. So, my question today is, are men really able to talk about the desires, the fears, their dreams, their goals without us as women and or people antagonizing, criticizing, demeaning, degrading, or making them feel less of a man when they do something that we are not necessarily pleased with? I feel like that is a form of verbal abuse. So, can a man be verbally, mentally, and emotionally abused? Can a man even be sexually abused? And I'm not just talking about in his childhood where he either might have been molested or raped or everybody playing house. I'm talking about when he gets older. Can a man be abused in the sense of his mental capacity? I feel like the vault to the heart is the man's mind. Does he have a safe place to come and actually lay his burdens down to talk about what's really bothering him? This has been on my heart for the past year or so, where I literally didn't necessarily date. I just took some time. I remember I wanted to do this thing called 50 dates in different states, where I actually interviewed different men from different demographic locations to see if their mindset was the same as other men in other places. It was more like a case study. And of course, we know that you can't branch or put all men together based off of one man out of one place. However, I was curious with everything that has been going on with our men. I watched last year how Kobe Bryant died, how Nipsey Hussle was murdered. The man, unfortunately I forgot his name, that had the knee in his neck, and so many other countless men that have been murdered and annihilated, and for senseless purposes. Even with me being from Akron, Ohio, there's so much murder of our men going on. And so I question, can these men actually articulate openly how they feel? Society has made it to where our men have to walk around with their shoulders pinned up, that they have to look a certain way. They can't express themselves, they can't talk about it. And if they do, are we willing to really allow them the opportunity to? Are we really allowing our men to speak? Have we allowed him, them, our men to speak? I had some questions last year, and one of them was, during a conversation that one of me and my friends had, and I said, if a man really came to a woman and told her, "Babe, I'm scared to go outside, and this is due to all the senseless killing. Babe, I'm scared for my life." Will this man be looked at as less of a man because he feels fear and talks about it? My question is, in regards to our man, can he experience this amount of abuse to where it actually silenced him to where he doesn't speak? I mean, we look at Maya Angelou. She was a woman. She was abused. Okay. And she didn't speak for a long time. Okay. So I just wonder, we have a lot of men that want to be rappers. Is this their vocal way of expressing how they feel? I mean, if you look at the rap music, they talk about it. Rap music, they say, is so harsh and degrading of women, and it causes all these issues in our community as far as killing and things of that nature. Is this because of how our men feel inwardly, that they are expressing the hurt and the pain that they endure in their music? But is it that so many people like the music because they can correlate and actually feel what that person is feeling because they're feeling the same way? My question today is, do we actually care about our men? Are we listening to them? Are we listening to their heart's concern? Even when they're silent. I know some men that I'm around sometimes, if they get too silent or too quiet, I know something is wrong. My question is, men, why would we ask you, is something wrong? Automatically, the response a lot of times is, I'm okay. And I know just by the look of a man, just by the silence of a man, that that's not true, that there are so many men that are walking around that are not okay. You have men that are experiencing death, you have men that are experiencing issues in their finances, you have men that are poor, you have men that are sexually traumatized, that will not speak up because society has made them feel like they have to keep it all together, they have to know everything, they have to be strong. They have to be our protector, our provider. But my question is, what are we giving to our men to make them feel like they are safe and they are okay and they can come and talk to us if need be? If you think about the human culture, everybody wants to be seen, everybody wants to be heard, people want to be validated. So, are we taking this from our men because we don't understand them, because we are not engaging in a strong dialogue with them? Um, Sally Richardson's husband, Deontay Richardson, he did a interview and had a book and stuff come out last year where he was talking to Devon Franklin about the difference between a male versus a man. And I, at my age, which is later on, am finally understanding that there is a difference between a male and a man. So today's conversation was inspired from the two blogs that I wrote that you can find on WordPress, which is available on Facebook as well as Instagram, Patricia Tomlinson or underscore Patricia Tomlinson for Instagram. And my question to you, just think about it. Don't get upset like, well, he did this to me and he hurt me and he did this and he did that. Take yourself out of the box and ask yourself, what made him do what he did? Is he hurting? We know it said that hurt people hurt people. They said that there is a bitter black woman. Trust that there is a bitter man. But is it because he feels like he's not being listened to, he's not heard, that his feelings are not being seen? Or validated, or does he even feel like he matters? My heart's cry right now is, of course, for the community. Of course, it's for women. Of course, we as women, we can sit together, we can have lunch or dinner, we'll talk about the concerns of our heart, and then we'll get a little bit of wisdom, and then we'll keep it moving. In regards to our men, I don't necessarily know if that is what is going on with the caliber of men that I've talked to. Majority of them have sat there in silence and really just withered away because of all these traumatic things that have happened to them that they've had to pin up in the vault of their hearts. So I'm curious, y'all leave comments, feedbacks as to how we as women or people can help our men. Men, if there's some strategies or tips that you have learned over time, please share them with us. We don't want to overlook you. You are so important to us in our community, in our lives. We need your wisdom. We need your insight. We need your feedback. So, thank you so much for listening today. Of course, I'm going to keep blogging. I'm going to keep writing about particular subjects that come to my mind through conversations. Um, I really want you guys to think about this over the weekend. How can we help our men open up, become comfortable with the notion of talking? Because a lot of men are not going to go see a counselor, they're not going to go see a shrink, they're not going to go and see somebody. So a lot of times we as the women and our people are their therapists, that they could come and lay on our couch and simply be calm and talk. Are we allowing our men to talk? Are we allowing him to speak? Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to bring more content. You guys can leave a comment. You guys can direct message me on my platforms. Let me know subjects and content that you want to talk about. I love doing these podcasts. I think it's just a beautiful way to have an open forum just to talk. But I don't want you guys to listen to me. I want to know your feedback as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the blog. Don't forget to send it to someone that may be in need. Don't forget to leave a comment. I am so interested in what you guys have to say about this subject. So just remember that you are loved. God loves you. I love you. And I want you to be at peace. And I'll see you back for my next podcast.